How often have you begun a conversation with the familiar, "Hi, how are you?" You've uttered it thousands of times and received it even more. But take a moment. Does it ever build a real connection? Does it ever ignite interest, curiosity, or attraction? Most of the time, it just fades away, consumed by habit. The reality is, common phrases like that don't create openings. They create walls. They keep our interactions on the surface predictable and ultimately forgettable. If you aim to be memorable, to truly capture someone's attention and make a lasting impression, you need to go beyond mere politeness. You need presence. This is the intersection where Stoicism, psychology, and modern neuroscience converge. In this video, we are going to break down 4 simple words. 4 words that form the core of powerful statements that stir emotions, lower inhibitions, and make others feel naturally connected to you. These aren't manipulative tricks, but timeless tools that will reshape how people perceive you. And stick around until the end, because I will give you a straightforward, eye-opening substitute for, "Hi, how are you?" A phrase so uncommon, so refreshing that it can change the entire dynamic of a conversation. Before we dive in, be sure to subscribe to the Code Psychology channel and become part community for early access to new videos and insights on personal and spiritual development. Let's begin. Word 1, understand. Central to the phrase, "I understand you," is the word understand. It may seem basic, but in application, it is revolutionary. To understand is to offer someone one of the most precious gifts, the feeling of being genuinely seen. Contemporary psychology has repeatedly confirmed that our need to feel understood is as vital as our need for security or a sense of belonging. When a person says, "I understand you," our brain registers it as a validation of our entire internal experience. Studies on affect labeling show that when we verbalize emotions, whether for ourselves or for others, the amygdala, the brain's threat detector, begins to calm down. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, which handles regulation and empathy, becomes more engaged. Essentially, saying "I understand you" can literally shift a person from a state of reactivity to one of calm and clarity. This is the reason people who offer understanding seem so magnetic. They diminish emotional turmoil and offer relief in its place. Relief is compelling. We want to be near those who provide it. The Stoics viewed understanding as the highest form of mental discipline. Epictetus cautioned against speaking without thought. First, learn the meaning of what you want to say, and then speak. To understand before speaking is to master your ego. Rather than reacting out of pride, you are responding from a place of clarity. In everyday interactions, this means using understand during moments of conflict, sorrow, or doubt. Look someone in the eyes and say it with intention. "I understand you," then wait. The silence that follows gives your words significance. It communicates to the other person, "I'm here with you." You don't have to struggle to be heard. And when people no longer feel the need to fight, they form a bond with you. Word 2, sense. The key word in "that makes sense to me" is sense. This one word shows that you have listened with intent, considered what was shared, and respected the logic behind it. Unlike hollow agreement, sense indicates an acknowledgement of the other person's reasoning, even if you don't fully agree with their conclusion. Psychologists refer to this as emotional mirroring. When you reflect that something makes sense, you are validating the effort the other person made to communicate their perspective. Social psychology's shared reality theory demonstrates why this is so effective. We feel more connected to people who affirm our perception of the world. When someone tells us, "That makes sense to me," our brain reads it as a sign of alignment. And alignment fosters closeness. On a neurological level, this type of validation activates the brain's reward centers, which in turn fosters feelings of reciprocity. It's as if the other person took a risk by opening up, and you've honored that risk by valuing their effort. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself to be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Saying "that makes sense" is an exercise in that tolerance. It demonstrates control over the urge to correct or assert dominance, and it shows respect for another's viewpoint. In practice, the power of sense is amplified when you are specific. Instead of a generic "that makes sense," add detail. "That makes sense to me because I can see the steps you took to reach that conclusion." This specificity turns the phrase into a reflective mirror. When someone sees their own thoughts reflected back by you, they feel safer, more connected, and more drawn to you. In a conversation, this word can transform a potential argument into a collaborative effort. It changes the dynamic from conflict to partnership. And within that partnership, trust can flourish. Word 3, right. In your right, the key word is right. This word taps into the deep human desire for validation. Every one of us, regardless of confidence, has a quiet wish to be told, "You are correct. You are seen. You are valued." Saying, "You're right," isn't about giving up your own position. It's about exercising emotional intelligence. Psychologists often discuss the confirmation bias, our natural inclination to favor people who reinforce our existing beliefs. When you validate someone with right, you are not losing influence. You are actually building it. By briefly aligning with their perspective, you lower their defenses and create an opportunity for connection. However, timing and sincerity are crucial. Overusing the phrase makes it feel empty, but when used at the right moment, it becomes powerful. Picture a tense discussion. Instead of escalating, you stop, look at the other person, and say, "You're right about that." The change is instantaneous. Their ego relaxes, the emotional intensity subsides, and the entire interaction shifts. Stoic philosophy explains why this is so effective. Seneca wrote, "It is the power of a great mind to acknowledge and embrace the truth, no matter where it comes from." Recognizing truth in another person isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It demonstrates that you prioritize truth above your own ego. An insecure person needs to win every point. A wise person knows when it's better to concede. In terms of attraction, right conveys humility and presence. It shows that your goal isn't to dominate the conversation, but to connect. Paradoxically, we are often more drawn to individuals who don't feel the need to fight for control. We see in them not a lack of conviction, but maturity, the maturity to see value in others without feeling diminished. When delivered with sincerity, right is not just validating, it's liberating. It frees the other person from the need to be defensive. And when someone feels they can lower their guard, they lean in, trust more, and remember you for it. Word 4, listen. The final word is listen, the core of the statement. I'm listening. This might seem straightforward, but in reality, it is one of the most uncommon and compelling things you can do for someone. Our modern world is filled with noise. We exist in a culture where people talk more than they hear, and conversations become contests to see who can respond the quickest. Research from the University of Minnesota indicates that the average person only remembers about 25% of what they are told. This means that true listening without interruption, judgment, or preparing your next sentence, is incredibly rare. And rarity is what gives things value. When you look someone in the eye and say, "I'm listening," you are doing much more than just acknowledging their words. You are conveying presence. You are saying, "In this moment, you are what matters. Right now, I am fully here with you." Psychologists explain this as satisfying the need for belonging, a core human desire to be seen and feel significant. The brain reacts positively to this. Neuroimaging studies have shown that the experience of being deeply listened to activates the same reward pathways as receiving a gift. The Stoics understood this principle long before neuroscience proved it. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, famously stated, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." For the Stoics, silence was not weakness. It was a sign of self-mastery. Seneca also noted that a wise person is slow to speak and quick to listen, as listening demonstrates control over the desire to dominate. When it comes to attraction, the impact of listening is even more profound. Think about it. While physical appearance might catch someone's initial attention, it's rarely enough to sustain it. What truly sustains desire is the feeling of being safe, understood, and free to be yourself. When you embody listening, you provide that safe space. In that space, people relax, open up, and start to connect your presence with feelings of relief and authenticity. Relief is compelling. Authenticity is magnetic. This is why listen is more than just a skill. It's a way of being. To listen is to move beyond your own ego and into another person's world. It requires discipline, humility, and strength, the very qualities the Stoics held in high regard. In a world where everyone is talking, the person who truly listens becomes unforgettable. Before we move on, if this video is helping you better understand the power of these 4 words, think about sharing it with someone who could benefit from this insight. And if you want to support this kind of content, you can use the thanks button below. Your support is greatly appreciated. Now stay with me, because we are about to unveil the simple phrase that can replace "Hi, how are you?" and entirely transform the atmosphere of your conversations. Let's return to where we began. Most interactions start with the same tired script. "Hi, how are you?" It's polite, but it seldom creates a spark, rarely makes you stand out, and almost never builds a deeper connection. Now you understand there is a better approach. As promised, here's the alternative. Instead of "Hi, how are you?" try asking, "Tell me something good." It's unexpected. It's inviting, and it instantly changes the feeling of the interaction. People don't just give an automatic reply. They stop, reflect, and often share something genuinely meaningful. This is the difference between habit and presence. And once you've opened that door, don't forget the 4 words we've discussed. Understand, sense, write, and listen. These are not just tricks. They are timeless instruments. They combine Stoic wisdom with modern psychology, reminding us that genuine influence isn't about talking more, but about saying what truly connects. If this video has offered you a new perspective, please leave a comment below. I'm curious to know which of these words resonated with you the most. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Code Psychology and join us as we continue to explore the wisdom that helps us live, connect, and grow with more clarity. Because in the end, attraction isn't about pursuing. It's about awakening. And awakening starts with the right words at the right moment.